Welcome, patrons. Perhaps I'm not the only one, but I always felt that werewolves were out of place in the world of Thedas. Yes, I know dragons, time magic, and floating libraries are all okay, but God help anyone who puts werewolves in my fantasy. But in the spirit of Halloween, let's take a closer look at what many Ferelden families claim to be related to: the werewolves. The Cursed. So anyone who's played Dragon Age Origins will know this story, but for those who haven't, it goes like this. Long ago, Zathrion's family was attacked by humans. They brutally tortured and maimed his loved ones. In his grief, Zathrion took to the forest and summoned a spirit into a wolf, creating Witherfang. Together they attacked the humans who had brutalized his children and cursed them. This curse turned them into the monstrous werewolves. Which, let's pause here and think through this. Hey, humans attacked us and were powerful enough to destroy my family. I'm mad. I know what I need to do. Make them more powerful by turning them into monsters. Ha, this is a good idea. Oh, and look, who would have guessed? The curse did end up coming back and kicking him in the ass. Anyway, and this is where our warden comes in. It's now centuries later and Zathrion asks us to help kill Witherfang, as the wolves have attacked the clan and have cursed his people. The warden goes out and can either kill Witherfang, kill the elves, or end the curse. The end. This curse is what kept Zathrion alive for hundreds of years, and sadly it doesn't give us an exact time frame here. The fact that he has lived way longer than he should have does raise a lot of questions, but today we're focusing on the werewolves. These werewolves are not the only werewolves we hear in the world of Thedas. Zathrion himself tells us that these are not the first ones. In fact, when we look at the other type of werewolves, it seems that Zathrion knew how the other werewolves were created and weaponized it. So let's talk about the other werewolves and how they came to be. The Possessed. The first place to start looking for werewolves is Ferelden history, specifically the codex entry Dane and the Werewolf. This particular story was recorded in 485 Black, which was over 400 years before we meet Zathrion. It's a song about how the legendary Ferelden figure Dane came across a werewolf. A werewolf, a creature with mind of man, lured by the hunt and come forth to lay claim to the heart as rightful tribute, drawn by the scent of cooling blood. In the silence the two hunters held, Dane spear-armed against the wolf with all his brood, knew that sinking heart he was lost, steeled for the winding roads of the Fade. Then the beast spoke, human-like in voice. You have taken this stag from my woods and my pack, but nothing comes without a cost. The wolf pack circled ever closer, and he who felled boars and bears with his bright blade knew fear. They spoke his name in roars, like gravestones offering a beast's bargain. Die here, huntsman, alone and forgotten, or take my place among the wolves, as I take your place amongst man. Thus was a bargain struck, and Dane the wolf pack served in wolfen form, and the werewolf to his family sped as Dane, 1 year and a day all told. But some things cannot be repent, some coinage cannot be unspent, when hearts are wagered a fisher rent. So Dane met a werewolf and traded places with him for a year. Dane is a werewolf and the werewolf has Dane. This is interesting, as it is believed that Dane led a major campaign to kill off werewolves, so I guess he wasn't too fond of his arrangement, although this is just a story. This story is also why many Ferelden nobles claim to be part wolf, as they also claim to be descended from Dane. No matter if the story is true or not, Ferelden did have a lot of wolves in its borders, and many of them were becoming possessed and turning into werewolves. This is one reason why Mabaris are so well loved in Ferelden, as they are believed to know who is a werewolf and are able to keep families safe from them. Dane is considered a hero because he helped purge the lands of wolves and werewolves, and although they probably still exist, they are less of a threat than they were. But let's focus back on the song. The werewolves here sound like they have a mind of a human, and it seems that they are also able to do some sort of magic, as one is able to shapeshift into Dane. From the Lady of the Forest, we learn that the wolves keeping their human mind has been hard. We also don't see them working any magic, so these seems to be two major differences between the two so far. I don't believe it's actually come up before in a video, but shapeshifting in Thedas has a lot of rules to it. Morgan tells us that she only has one form per animal and that she is unable to turn into another human form. So her wolf form will always look the same, as well as her spider and so on and so on. Humans are not able to turn into other humans because of this rule. In fact, the only thing we see turn into other humans are demons and spirits in the Fade. Outside the Fade, as seen with a couple of Desire demons in the Circle quest, they have to use magic to appear to be someone else. Those not under their thrall will see them as they are. The fact that this werewolf was able to turn into Dane suggests that it was a spirit of the Fade. And lo and behold, the Codex for Werewolves confirms this. Wolves possessed by rage demons and transformed into humanoid monsters with incredible speed and strength, able to spread a curse to those they bit that would drive them mad with unthinking fury. When in this arranged state, a human host can likewise become possessed and be transformed into a feral wolf-like beast. Tales differ on these werewolves of human origin, some claiming that their transformation into a bestial form happens uncontrollably. Some claim that the transformation is irreversible. As is often the case with demonic tales, both versions were most likely true at some point. And we do actually see these possessed werewolves. In Dragon Age Awakening, we were attacked by blighted werewolves. One would think that if they belonged to the group of werewolves that we met in Origins, they would just be blighted humans if we broke the curse. Although perhaps the blight is keeping them in their werewolf state, we have to ask why they are so far away from their home, and also the codex entry associated with them suggests that they are possessed wolves. At this point, you may be asking, how can one be bitten by a werewolf and then suddenly become a werewolf? How does a curse act like a disease? We actually get a first-hand account on how this could happen in the novel The Last Flight. For clarity's sake, griffins were known to hate the blight, and if they were infected, would often kill themselves. So this passage is a Grey Warden mage, Isia, using blood magic to try and save this tainted griffin. There she rewove the thoughts that she found, snipping strands of remembrance and feeling and layering others in their places. She weakened Shrike's hatred of Darkspawn and pushed the sense of loathing away from what he'd become since ingesting their taint. In place of those emotions, she braided together acceptance and forgetfulness, blurring the details of what he'd become and altering the griffin's perspective so that it seemed less awful. She masked the sense of alien sickness in him, bending the griffin's thoughts so that he would believe it was only a cold, a cough, some transient illness that accounted for him not feeling quite like himself. And after this, not only did the griffin act like it was a cold, it was a cold, and it spread to the other griffins who came into contact with this griffin, which is what brought them to extinction. I bring this up because here is an example on how magic can turn into something we are more familiar with, infections and colds. This shows that it's possible that a curse can be passed on through a bite of a werewolf. To end this, I have two thoughts. 1. Remember that pack of wolves we saved from the Terror Demon in Dragon Age Inquisition? We may have stopped an outbreak of werewolves there. And 2. Solus. Yes, I'm going there. I'm going to pose you with a question. Werewolves are what happen when you possess wolves with demons. What happens if you possess wolves with benign spirits? Could Solus's forces have werewolves in their ranks? And when Cole mentions that someone, who we presume to be Solus, was pressured into taking a body, did he mean actually taking a body? The body of a wolf. And that, patrons, is all that we have on werewolves. And a little bit more. Do you still have lingering questions, proof that I'm wrong? Comments about your own fan theory. Feel free to tweet me at @Gilderthon on Twitter or send a PM to user Gillenon on Reddit. Duresh all.